Hello, today I want to talk about employees and how they're probably the most challenging thing you're going to deal with in any business. So let's go take a walk and talk about the lovely world of employees in your small business. Now, employees are a great way to leverage yourself because you can't do all the work yourself anymore. So you hire people so you can grow and have people do things that are sometimes better than you at certain things. And sometimes you can teach them to be better than you at certain things. But I think it's obvious for most people that run a business that hiring employees and managing employees and managing and taking care of customers also is probably the most difficult thing you'll ever do running a business. Now, even though it's difficult, I think there's comfort in saying this, which may not seem realistic when I say it, but I find comfort in reminding myself that the problems you have with people, whether they're your current employees or whether they're your customers at times that are difficult, those problems are never, ever going to go away. It's just part of running the business. You could do things to mitigate those problems. You can do things to have a better work environment, like a better culture, treating people the way you'd like to be treated. There's a lot of little things you can do. But in the end, you're always going to have employee problems. They're just not going to go away because people are unique. You're unique, I'm unique, and some days we have good days and some days we have bad days, and so do your employees. And sometimes they bring that to work. And so I do just find comfort in reminding myself that these problems are not going to go away ever. And so I don't get so wrapped up in them. I deal with them as they come my way and leave it at that. I try not to bring it home because it is what it is, and it's going to happen again and again and again. So it's good to be reminded of that. I'm currently going through a situation where we have a fairly small leadership team, consists of 3 people, but I have a manager that runs the outside area of the business, which is in the field work. And then I also have a manager that runs the inside of the business, which is generally the office work and dealing with customers and the customer service team. And on the organizational chart, they're together. They kind of have equal power. On the org chart, they're level and at the same place. And what I have found is that what I've been trying to do is actually get the office person to take on more management capabilities and run more of the business and kind of oversee and look over the outside of the business to a degree. So I'm freed up to do things like work on the strategy of the business, work on making content for the business and things like that. And for me to do that, I need her to take on a little more responsibilities, which she's more than happy to do. But the problem that I found that we have is that with the outside manager and the inside manager being seen as equal, the inside manager, who I want to direct more, is having a very hard time kind of managing and suggesting things to our outside, or what we call our service manager. And it seems obvious. And it wasn't obvious so much for me until after we kind of came up with this. But they both think they're in control, so there's sometimes some, conflict with each other and some debates and some ugly discussions. And so what I decided to do is promote the inside manager, which was an office manager, to a different role, which we call we call her now our business manager, which she will oversee the office, the customer service team, and then also oversee the customer service manager. And so I think that's going to be extremely helpful, that now she has the power to do that. and the authority to do that. And I think that service manager is going to respect her more since we put her in that position. So really the lesson learned for me was that you always need one person in charge. I'm always kind of weary of those businesses that have two CEOs, and I don't know that they work so well. I mean, to me, it seems very hard when you have two people trying to steer the ship. You need one captain, in my opinion, and that doesn't have to be a dictatorship, but that's someone who's making the final decisions and getting everything planned the way they want to plan. They're hopefully, as a leader, they're using or taking the inputs from their team to make those decisions. But in the end, I think one person needs to run the show, not two, not three, but one. And so that's what we've done. And so even over a couple days, well, first of all, let me back up. When I promoted the office manager to our business manager position, our service manager was not so happy. As you can see, they were seen as equal before, and now he has a new boss, another boss, a different boss, and wasn't so happy about that. But after a couple days went by, everything started to fall into place, and it started to work out fairly well, where he was becoming more accepting of it, and the lady who runs the office, who's now the business manager, was really starting to kind of dig into her role, and so it started to work out very well in a couple of days. We'll see how it goes in the future, and I'll keep you updated, but I think it's so far working out very well, and that was a good decision. Another thing I learned as far as managers are concerned is that to be a good manager, there's one skill they must have, which is organization. They need to be organized. A manager at any level, and especially the higher level they are, the more organized they need to be. But I have put people in management positions that aren't that organized, and they need a lot of direction and management from their superior, where when you have someone that's organized and able to keep track of things, keep track of their own task for the day, come up with things to do on their own, or find things that are problems and just fix them on their own without needing supervision for that, I find those people are just invaluable. I also like to tell my team, listen, the less you need me in the long run, the more valuable you are to me. Now, in the beginning, they need you a lot because you're teaching them things, you're showing them the ropes, especially if you're starting a new project at the beginning of the project. You need a lot of hands-on to show them how you'd like to have things progress, and therefore, but after that, I don't really like our managers coming to me all the time for every little thing. I'm always open and there for them, and will help them anytime they need help. But I generally don't like them coming to me all the time and asking me to do parts of their job, because that's why I hired them. And so an organized person in a management role is a really, really important and good skill to have. So keep that in mind if you're ever going to hire a manager. That was a great learning lesson for me over the last several years. So that will be very, very helpful for you. Another thing I've learned with managing people is that people have good days and bad days, and in the end, they just want to be treated fairly. They wanted to be treated kindly. They want to be recognized and noticed. And just, sometimes as a founder or the leader of your organization, you have to just put yourself in their position and try to imagine how they feel in their position and what they're doing and what they may be going through. And so just when you put yourself in their position, I think you find out that sometimes they just need a hug, and Not necessarily a physical hug, but maybe a mental hug, and let them know that you're here for them and everything's going to be okay, and you're going to help them out in any way you can, and encourage them to progress in their job. I think some people need that a lot of times. And we can get that and give that to them through a job there. So in conclusion, just remember that people are people, and people are going to be difficult. And you're never, ever going to solve your people problems. The business is kind of peaks and valleys, especially with people. Sometimes things are going to go so well with your people. You're going to be so happy with the way they're performing. And you're just going to think, man, I have this thing set up so well. It works so good. I got the best people around. This is amazing. And then all of a sudden something goes wrong. Someone drops the ball. Someone gets sick. Someone decides to leave you for the competition, whatever there. And when you're a smaller business, you don't have a lot of redundancies or backups in your leadership team, so you fall apart very quickly. And sometimes you, as the founder or the owner, have to jump in and kind of fill that gap until you find someone else. So it's full of peaks and valleys. And just remember that it's always going to be that way. And find comfort in the fact that sometimes it's going to be good and sometimes it's going to be bad. But either of those positions are not going to be forever. They're just going to be around for just a short amount of time. I'm hiking in this field, and a coyote just about 50 feet in front of me ran in front of me. It caught my attention. That's pretty cool. It's nice living next to open space, I guess. And on the other side of things, it's not just that your team and your people that work with you and for you are sometimes difficult to deal with, but customers can be extremely difficult to deal with. And everyone has their philosophy in how they want to deal with, just call it crazy customers. And my feeling is that we do everything we can to please a customer. We wake up all the time thinking, how can I delight these customers even more today? What can we do better? What can we do differently to delight our customers? And I know some people, if they get a real nasty customer, they just get rid of them. And they easily get rid of difficult customers. And sometimes customers are so difficult that we will get rid of one or so, but it's very rare. We rather take our time and be a little patient with that customer, because a lot of times we found that sometimes customers are just having a bad day, and multiple times they'll yell and scream at us and say, hey, I don't, well, they'll yell and scream and actually call the staff names. And the next day they'll call and be like, I'm so sorry. My daughter just wrecked her car. We don't have enough money to take care of it. I kind of unloaded on you guys yesterday. You were so kind and nice to me. Just calling back to say sorry. And that's happened quite a few times to me and to our staff. Another thing that happens all the time, I see some owners, different philosophy. We don't do this, but someone will call and they're calling one of the customer service reps names, cursing at them. This just happened to us actually last week. And some owners will say, listen, I'm going to get on the phone and I'm going to tell that customer what I think of them, or how dare they. I'm not going to let a customer talk to my staff that way. And that's some people's philosophy. I don't have that philosophy. I want my customer service team to be part of that conversation and learn to deal with someone like that. Because to me, it's like raising kids. Let's say you teach your kids, don't ever drink, don't ever look at or whatever horrible things you could think of. Don't smoke, don't do drugs, don't, you could say all that to your kids and just say stay away from it. But what I would like to do or not even talk about it with your kids, which some people do, is just, I'm not even going to address it with my kids because it's just bad stuff. We don't want to go there. My feeling is that I want my customer service reps to be part of that mean conversation with a customer and deal with them, because when they learn to deal with a difficult customer like that, and they don't sink to that level and they just let it shoot right through them, and they let their ego go and they don't take offense to a mean customer, it's going to help them in their personal life. And so the next time they have a fight with their spouse or someone on the road that's being mean to them, they can use that same skill in their own life, which is like, listen, I'm not going to let this crazy person get to me. They're really not even mad at me. They're probably having a bad day. They're probably like this to everybody they talk to. And so just let it come in and go out and right through me, and I'll be okay. And so I'd like the team to be exposed to that so they can learn how to deal with it. I don't want to protect them or hide them from that and just say, well, we don't want you to deal with mean customers. We're just going to get rid of those folks. No, I'd like you to deal with those people. I'd like you to learn how to deal with them, because life is full of nasty people, and you're going to run into them at work, or you're going to run into them on the road or in your own personal life. And so I'd like to teach you how to deal with them so you could deal with them in any aspect of your life. I hope you enjoyed our talk with our topic of difficult people and how difficult they can be. And thanks for joining me today. And until next time, I'll see you. And remember, a lawn boy can do it, so can you.